Ekwutosi and Ndidi were the most talked about twins in Eziama village, not because of their beauty alone, but because they looked exactly the same. Wherever they walked, people always turned to look at them twice. At the market, traders paused. On the road, people whispered. Even strangers blinked and asked, "Are these two not the same person?" Their mother had lived with this confusion since they were babies. Sometimes she would call one name and the wrong twin would answer. Sometimes she would scold one and the other would be the one crying. But the real problem was their characters. Ekwutosi was sharp-mouthed, fearless, and always ready for argument. If someone offended her, she would not even think before replying. Ndidi was the opposite. Quiet, soft, slow to anger. She preferred peace. But because she looked exactly like her sister, people still feared her by mistake. The twins loved themselves too deeply. They did everything together: cooking, washing, going to the stream, even sleeping. And since childhood, they kept one vow. Any man who wants to marry one of us must marry the two of us together. Their mother had begged them many times to stop saying it, but the twins never listened. One calm Saturday morning, the village was bright and full of life. The twins carried their water pots and walked to the stream. As they walked, people turned to look at them as usual. These twins again, some villagers whispered. "Which one is this one now?" another person asked. At the stream, the girls fetched their water, rested a little, and then started their journey back home. They joked and laughed, walking side by side like two shadows. On that same bush path, Chijoke, a young man who recently came to visit his aunt, was walking toward the stream. When he saw the twins from a distance, he slowed down. He had never seen such identical people in his life. As they got closer, his eyes followed them carefully. Their steps matched. Their voices sounded alike. If one turned her head, the other did the same without thinking. But out of the two, one of them caught his attention more strongly. She walked in front with confidence and a bold face. Chijoke stood still after they passed. He kept looking back as they walked away, feeling something rise inside his chest. He whispered to himself, "I must talk to that girl. I must marry her." But when he tried to study her face deeply, the other twin looked exactly the same, and confusion entered his head. When the twins got home, their mother was sitting outside the compound peeling cassava on a wooden stool. She looked tired. Her hands had been working since morning. She looked up and said, "Welcome. Carry your pots inside." The twins entered the house laughing and talking about something funny that happened at the stream. Their mother shook her head slowly. "These children, one day they will give me heart attack." She continued peeling her cassava and arranging them inside the basin. Not long after, footsteps entered the compound. It was Chijoke. Their mother looked up from her cassava and asked kindly, "My son, who do you want to see?" Chijoke stood straight and spoke politely. "Ma, good afternoon. I saw one of your daughters at the stream this morning. I want to marry her." Their mother froze. The cassava almost fell from her hand. "You want to marry which of them?" Chijoke scratched his head. "Ma, that is the problem. I don't know her name. They look exactly alike, but one of them caught my eye." Their mother breathed deeply and shouted inside, "Ekwutosi, Ndidi, come out here." The twins stepped out quietly and stood side by side. Chijoke looked at them. Left, right, left again, right again. The confusion became worse. Their mother asked, "My son, which one did you see?" Chijoke opened his mouth, but no words came out. He swallowed and finally said, "Ma, I don't know again. They look too much alike." The twins laughed. Then Ekwutosi stepped forward and spoke boldly. "So, you want to marry somebody you cannot even recognize. Oga, go and sit down." Chijoke felt embarrassed. Ekwutosi continued, "If you want to marry one of us, get ready to marry the two of us. We cannot be separated." Chijoke shouted softly, "God forbid, I cannot marry two sisters." Ekwutosi hissed and dragged Ndidi inside the house. Their mother closed her eyes painfully and said, "My son, don't mind them. This is how they behave. They have chased many young men away." Chijoke left the compound slowly, still confused. The twins returned inside laughing. Their mother continued peeling cassava with heavy thoughts. After the incident with Chijoke, the twins continued with their normal life. The village continued gossiping about them. Their mother continued worrying. And the twins continued walking around like two shadows that refused to separate. But something big was coming, something the village did not expect. Every year in Eziama village, there was a grand masquerade festival that lasted for 3 days. Drums would sound everywhere. Youths would dance. People would cook special meals. Visitors from far places would return home just to witness the celebration. This year's festival was special because someone important returned. Muna. He was a young man who grew up in the village but moved to Port Harcourt for work. The whole village liked him because he was gentle and respectful. That morning, the news went around like fire. Muna has come back. Muna is around. Muna has returned for the festival. Women gossiped. Even elders smiled when they saw him. But destiny was preparing something bigger. On the first day of the festival, the village square was full of people. Masquerades danced, drummers beat their drums, and villagers cheered and laughed. The twins came out together, walking side by side as usual. And like always, everyone turned to look at them. People whispered, "See the twins. They look like mirror and mirror. Which one is the trouble one again?" At that moment, Muna was standing near a group of boys. He turned, saw the twins from a distance, and froze. His eyebrows lifted, his mouth opened slightly, his heart skipped. He whispered to himself, "These girls again, they never change." He remembered how both of them used to disturb the entire village when they were small. Now they were grown and still walking together like one spirit in two bodies. As the festival continued, Muna found himself looking at them more than the masquerade. He tried to study their faces, but he looked like the same person, no difference. He walked closer to them and greeted politely, "Good afternoon." They both answered, "Good afternoon." He smiled, they smiled, but he still couldn't tell who was who. Later that day, Muna gathered courage and approached them again. "What are your names?" he asked. "I am Ndidi," one said softly. "And I am Ekwutosi," the other said sharply. But before he could memorize the names, they had already confused him with their identical looks. He laughed nervously and said, "I cannot even tell you two apart." The twins laughed. Before they left the festival field, Muna asked gently, "Where do you live now? I want to visit your mother." They gave him their house direction, not the full address, just the normal village-style instructions. Follow the big mango tree. Turn left at the narrow path. Our compound is the one with bamboo fence. Muna nodded and smiled. "All right, I will come." The next morning, the twins' mother was outside washing plates and sweeping the compound. She had no idea that destiny was bringing another man to her door. Soon, footsteps entered the compound. She looked up. It was Muna. Her eyes brightened. "Mona, my son, welcome." He greeted respectfully. "Good morning, ma." She offered him a chair and called inside the house. "Girls, someone is here to see you." The twins came out slowly. When they saw Muna sitting down, they smiled and greeted him warmly. But Muna cleared his throat and dropped the shocking news. "I came because I want to marry one of you." Silence fell for a moment. The mother sat up immediately. Her heart started beating fast. She prayed silently, "Please let this boy choose one. Let him be the one to break this madness." The twins looked at each other and then at him. Mona continued, The problem is, I cannot remember the face of the one I like. I like the two of you, but I want to marry one. The mother's eyes widened with hope. But before she could speak, Ekwutosi stood up. Her voice became sharp. We don't do that here. Muna blinked. What? You cannot marry one of us. You must marry the two of us or nobody. The mother held her head. Chineke, these girls again? Ndidi stood quietly behind her sister, gently touching her arm as if telling her to calm down. But Ekwutosi continued. We share everything. We cannot separate. If you want marriage, marry us both. Muna felt his chest tighten. He laughed small, thinking it was a joke. You girls are joking, right? He asked. They shook their heads. No joke. That is our rule, Ekwutosi said. The mother begged. Please, my son, don't mind them. They don't listen. Muna looked at the twins again. Looked at the mother, then looked at the ground. There was confusion in his heart, but also something else. A strange attraction. After thinking quietly for a moment, he stood up. He said, I will come back, and he left. For one whole week, Muna did not come, but he could not sleep well either. The twins' faces kept appearing in his mind. He asked himself again and again, can I marry two people? Is it even possible? Will I survive it? But something pulled him back to them, something he could not explain. At the end of the week, he made a decision that shocked even him. It was a bright morning when people in the village started shouting, come and see, oh, Muna's family is going to the twins' house. Their mother was washing clothes when she saw them enter her compound. Muna, his father, his mother, his uncle, they came prepared, and they were carrying traditional marriage items. The mother screamed, hey! The twins came out and froze. Muna cleared his throat and spoke loudly so everyone could hear. I have decided. I will marry the two of you. The mother sat down on the bare ground. The twins held hands and smiled at him. The villagers said, ha! This boy don't tie his destiny. Two wives at once. Who sent him message? This marriage will be interesting. And just like that, bride price was paid. The twins became married women, and Muna took them to Port Harcourt to start their new life. When the twins arrived in Port Harcourt, they loved the place. Houses everywhere, cars everywhere, people moving up and down like ants. Muna rented a 2-bedroom apartment. The twins shared the same room, of course. They cooked together, they bathed together, they followed Muna up and down like two shadows. Whenever they walked on the street, people stared at them as usual. Who are these two? They look exactly alike. Are they acting movie? Some neighbors even asked Muna quietly, Bros, how you dey manage these two women? Muna always smiled like a man who didn't want stress. But inside his heart, he was already feeling the heat. 1 month passed. Then one night, Muna sat the twins down. His eyes were red. His face looked tired. He looked like someone who had swallowed sorrow. He said quietly, I need to talk to you two. Sleeping with two women at the same time, I cannot continue. I am losing strength. The twins stared at him. He continued, I went to the hospital today. My blood pressure is high. My blood level is low. The doctor said I should reduce stress. Ndidi gasped softly. She touched his shoulder gently, like a caring wife. But Ekwutosi hissed loudly. So, what are you trying to say? She asked. Muna sighed. We need a plan. I cannot continue like this. He explained, there are 7 days in a week. Ekwutosi, you will have 3 days. Ndidi, you will have 3 days. I will keep 1 day to rest. Ndidi nodded calmly. It is fine. But Ekwutosi jumped up. How will you even know who is who? You cannot even recognize us. Muna thought for minutes. Then he remembered something. One day, when I was with one of you, my nail wounded her hand. That hand has a small scar. That will help me know who is who. The twins stretched their hands. He saw the small scar on Didi's hand. Good, he said. Now I can tell both of you apart. Ndidi accepted the plan with peace.
But Ekwutosi was not happy. She only agreed because her sister agreed. 2 weeks later, something happened. The twins gave Muna a small envelope. They were smiling like children hiding a secret. When he opened the envelope, he saw 2 pregnancy test strips.
He looked up. Ndidi nodded shyly. Ekwutosi folded her arms proudly. "We are both pregnant," they said. Muna screamed and jumped up. "Seriously? I will be a father? 2 babies?" They laughed and hugged him. For a moment, the house was filled with joy. But happiness did not last, especially when pregnancy entered Ekwutosi's body. Pregnancy changed Ekwutosi like magic. Her trouble increased like fire poured with petrol. In the morning, she would wake up and vomit inside the sitting room without warning. If Ndidi told her to use small bowl, she shouted, "Shut up, are you the firstborn of vomiting?" If Muna told her to calm down, she screamed, "You like Ndidi more than me, you are pretending." Ndidi tried to understand her. She always told Muna, "Don't be angry, it is pregnancy, she will be okay." But Ekwutosi didn't change. On the night it was Ndidi's turn to be with their husband, Ekwutosi would sit in the parlor, shouting, complaining, sometimes singing loud songs that would disturb the entire house. Songs like, "Some people pretend to be good, but wickedness is hiding inside their body." Songs like, "Sister wey dey act holy holy, na im she dey do pass." Everybody knew who she was singing about. She even started eardropping at Ndidi's door when it was Ndidi's night with Muna. She pressed her ear against the door like a thief, listening for police. If she heard even small movements, she cried loudly in the parlor. The next morning, Ndidi greeted her, "Good morning, sister." Ekwutosi hissed and walked away. She didn't greet Muna either. Instead, she told him, "When it reaches my turn now, you will start forming tired. Just try me." Muna was suffering silently. One afternoon, everything scattered. Ekwutosi stood in the parlor and said, "This week is my week. I am not sharing my husband with anybody again." Ndidi looked at her sister calmly. "That is not fair. We agreed." Before she finished, Ekwutosi slapped her. Ndidi held her cheek, shocked. They started fighting, dragging hair, pushing, shouting, rolling on the ground. Muna sat on the floor holding his head and crying, "What have I done to myself? What is this? Why did I marry 2 sisters?" After the fight, the house became quiet, but peace did not return. The next day, Muna wanted to take them for antenatal checkup. He came out and opened the front seat for Ndidi because it was Ndidi's turn. As she was about to enter the car, Ekwutosi ran out shouting, "Wait there, where do you think you are entering? It is my turn to sit in front. Last month you sat there." Ndidi blinked. "I don't understand." "You don't understand anything," Ekwutosi shouted. The argument grew. Muna begged them. He asked Ndidi to sit at the back for peace. Ndidi agreed, but Ekwutosi still insulted Muna the whole ride. The next morning, Muna came out to go to work. Ndidi hugged him gently and told him, "Safe journey." As he turned to leave, Ekwutosi came outside and started fighting Ndidi again. This time, both of them dragged Muna like a rope. "My husband! No, my husband! Leave him! You leave him!" Muna dropped his bag, sat on the ground and cried again, "This marriage will end me." Later that evening, Ekwutosi lay on her bed thinking. Her face was sour, her eyes were red, her mind was boiling. "I will not allow Ndidi to take my husband away from me," she muttered. Suddenly, she remembered something. A native doctor, Dibia, that lived close to the land Muna bought for the twins. She smiled wickedly. "Tomorrow morning, I'm going there." The next morning, when Muna left for work, Ekwutosi bathed, dressed, and entered a bus to Eche village. When she reached the Dibia's hut, she told him why she came. "I want my husband to hate Ndidi. I want her to suffer. I want her beauty to spoil." The Dibia looked at her, shook his head, and started his incantations. He told her, "You and your twin share a very strong bond. If your husband hates her, you will also feel the pain. If I must break that bond first, you must pay 10 million naira." Ekwutosi jumped up and shouted, "10 what? Is it my destiny you want to buy? Are you mad?" She insulted the man and walked out angrily. When she got home, she entered the kitchen. Ndidi greeted her softly, "Welcome, sister."
Ekwutosi ignored her, opened the pot, took food, grabbed the biggest meat and sat down like a queen. Ndidi said quietly, "Sister, please forgive me. Let us be in peace." But Ekwutosi only hissed.
The house was no longer a home. Every day, Ekwutosi's anger grew like fire. Every night, Ndidi cried quietly on her bed. Muna moved up and down like someone living inside a storm. One evening, Muna returned from work looking extremely tired. He dropped his bag on the chair and sat down with both hands on his head. His voice was weak. "I cannot continue like this. I cannot live like this anymore." The twins stood in front of him. Ndidi's eyes were filled with tears. Ekwutosi folded her arms like stone. Muna continued, "I married both of you because I wanted peace. But all I have seen is fighting, shouting, jealousy, dragging, and trouble." Ndidi wiped her tears. Ekwutosi hissed loudly. Muna pointed at them and said, "If this continues, one day something terrible will happen, something we will all regret." But Ekwutosi replied sharply, "If you like Ndidi so much, go and marry only her. I don't care." Ndidi gasped. Muna stood up. His voice rose. "Enough! I cannot take this anymore." He stormed out of the house. The door slammed. The room went silent. That night, none of them slept. Around 3 a.m., Ndidi woke up with a sharp pain in her stomach. "Ah! My stomach! My baby!" she cried. She held her belly, sweating, shaking. Ekwutosi woke up too. "What is it again?" she asked angrily. But when she saw her sister rolling on the bed, crying in serious pain, fear entered her eyes. "Sister, what is happening?" Ndidi whispered, I think something is wrong. Help me, please." For the first time in weeks, Ekwutosi's anger disappeared. Her heart shook. She ran to Muna's room. Muna, wake up. Ndidi is dying." Muna jumped out of bed and rushed to Ndidi's room. When he saw her holding her stomach in pain, he carried her immediately. Open the door, he shouted. They rushed her into the car and drove straight to the hospital. When they reached the hospital, nurses took Ndidi inside. Ekwutosi and Muna sat in the waiting area, shaking with fear. After some time, a nurse came out. "What happened to her?" Muna asked. The nurse sighed sadly. "She almost lost the pregnancy. She's under too much stress, too much emotional pain." Ekwutosi began to cry. "Doctor, please save her. Please, save my sister." The nurse looked at her. "You two are twins, right? Your hearts are connected. What hurts one, hurts the other. If she had collapsed, you might have collapsed too, right? You must try to always make each other happy." The words hit Ekwutosi like thunder. She sat down and cried like a baby. "God, what have I done?" When Ndidi finally woke up, she saw her sister kneeling beside her, holding her hand tightly with tears all over her face. "Sister, I am sorry," Ekwutosi cried. "I hurt you. I almost destroyed us. Forgive me, please." Ndidi smiled weakly and touched her cheek. "Sister, I forgave you long ago. I was only waiting for you to come back to me." They hugged each other gently. Even Muna wiped his eyes. For the first time in months, peace returned. When they returned home, things changed. Ekwutosi stopped fighting. She stopped shouting. She stopped dragging Muna. She became gentle, caring, and even started helping Ndidi with chores. When Ndidi woke up at night to pee, Ekwutosi followed her. When Ndidi was hungry, she cooked for her. When Ndidi cried, she hugged her. Muna couldn't believe it. One day, he sat them down. "You two have changed. I am proud. I wanted peace. Now I have peace." The twins looked at each other and smiled. Months later, the twins went into labor on the same day. The hospital was filled with nurses running up and down. Ekwutosi gave birth first, to a baby boy. 30 minutes later, Ndidi gave birth to a baby girl. The whole hospital shouted with joy. Muna fainted and woke up again. People said, "This man has suffered, but God blessed him double." They all carried their babies and smiled. The twins hugged their newborn children and hugged each other too. It was a fresh beginning, a peaceful beginning, a loving beginning. Moral lesson: love, peace, and unity are stronger than jealousy and anger. When jealousy enters a home, it destroys everything. But when love enters, it heals everything. Families should stand together, not fight each other.
Twins should protect their bond, not break it. And in marriage, respect and understanding are more important than anything else. The end.